Hey ladies, Lisa Shaw with LisaShawCares.com, where some build buildings and I build people, especially women. And I'm so honored to be able, as a certified personal development and executive business coach, to be able to help women and equip women to really live the life that they envision personally and professionally. And I've had that opportunity in various ways since the 90s. So this is not new to me, and it certainly is my passion. And so I want to welcome each one of you here because I don't take your time lightly, and I don't take the opportunity to serve you lightly. So thank you for opening up the newsletter and playing this video. I'm hoping that it will encourage you. And please listen to the end, because at the end, the encouragement for the week, I'm going to share with you here. And it's going to be a little something that I think is really going to strengthen you. So today, here's what I want to talk to you about. Grab your pad and pen. You got your water, your coffee. If you're like me, hot chai tea latte with almond milk. And let's dig in. I want to briefly talk to you about the subject of how you show up. How do people perceive you? Now, before I get into that, let me say this. We cannot chase after people's opinions of us. I know that firsthand. I have oodles and oodles and oodles of people who love and respect me, and I appreciate that very much. But like you, I have naysayers, doubters, bridge busters, or at least they attempt to. People who don't understand my calling, people who don't like me for any particular reason. But I tell you what, I don't get stuck in people's perceptions of me. I did back in my teens and 20s when I was a huge people pleaser. And if you visit my blogs or watch my videos on my YouTube, or are connected to me through my public or private profile pages on Facebook or through my Instagram, then you know some of my story. And certainly if I've had the pleasure to teach or minister at your church function or event, or have had the opportunity to coach, train you or your team, then you know I'm pretty transparent. And so I know that we cannot change the opinions of people. We're just not going to be able to do that. And really, we shouldn't try. But what we should try to do and try to be, is excellent in anything and everything that we're doing. Integrity is one of my core values. As a believer, and I am a believer, and if you've hung with me a little bit, then you know that I am a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, 100%. And I love and serve many different people. Most who believe as I do, some who don't. But there's one thing that they definitely appreciate and agree on, and that is they can count on Lisa Shaw operating with integrity and a spirit of excellence. And I was raised that way. I'm sure many of you were raised that way as well. We are living in times where showing up is even more important. Lisa, what are you talking about? How you show up? What are you talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked. How do you show up at your job? How do you show up at church? How do you show up in your business? How do you show up as a friend? And what I'm merely saying, and it's very important, I'm saying, how are you perceived in each one of those areas? Wherever you show up in your life, wherever you go every day, in your home, with your family, how do you show up? How do people know you? What do people say? I'm not talking about the nonsense that people in their weaknesses will say. I'm not talking about the gossips and the naysayers and the doubters. I'm not talking about the people who may even be critical of you in ways that are inappropriate. What I'm talking about is, how do you show up, and how do people perceive you and how you show up? Do you show up with integrity? Are you on time? Are you reliable? When your name is said out of someone's mouth, are they saying, wow, she's dependable, she's reliable, she's kind, she's compassionate, she's strong, she's bold, she's a little bit feisty? What are they saying? Are they saying, wow, she's helpful? That woman is an encourager. Oh, yeah. She's no nonsense. She's loving. She's supportive. She follows through on what she says. In other words, she's a woman of her word. She completes and meets her obligations. And if she can't, she's quick to advise you and to apologize. We have lost, due to social media, and I'm the first one to admit I'm a techie person. Yes, I am. But social media is harmful in that we are losing our ability to communicate effectively with one another. People write in short sentences. They put a you instead of the word you. Verbal communication, written communication is spiraling down. Our ability to talk to one another with kindness, with a greeting, hi, good morning, how are you? No, we just plop things down in Messenger at each other. One of the things that I had to get accustomed to is people will message me prayer requests, which I love. That's not what I need to get used to because I'm a praying person. But what I had to get used to over the years is people just starting off, this is what I need you to pray about. Not good morning, Lisa, not how are you? And then never ending with a thank you. Never even asking, is there something I could pray for you? I had to get used to that long time ago. And so social media is not the problem. How we engage social media is, because we're losing that relational contact and connection with one another. And we're moving over into a more robotic way of dealing with one another. And that's not good. Because if I don't connect with you, then I'm not going to get to know you. And if I don't know you, how do I know if I'm even going to like you? And if I don't like you, how am I going to trust you? And you should feel that way as well, right? We've been called to love one another, but doesn't mean that you're going to like everything about everyone's personality. And so unless you get to know people and know what are their core values, their personal attributes, and those are things that you learn by how a person shows up in the world, how they show up in their family, how they show up in business, how they show up in their job, how they show up through their nonprofit. How do they show up as a leader? How do they show up as a volunteer, as a student, as a teacher? How do they show up on social media? What are they saying? What are they talking about? Are they being stereotypical? Are they being harsh and judgmental in what they're saying about people who may not agree with them? How we show up speaks volumes. Let me give you a real life example. I was getting my nails done a while back, and I decided, let me treat myself to a pedicure. And I'm sitting there in the pedicure chair, enjoying the quiet. Because between being a wife, a mother of adult children, a grandma, and a business owner of two businesses, LisaShawCares.com and Lisa'sJewelsForGems.com, and my ministry, Lisa Shaw Ministries, all of that, and friendships and everything else, and personal care. Come on, we all have to take care of ourselves better, right? And so, side note, let me just say, I went to the doctor yesterday and got back a less shouted out report. One of those reports where it's like, oh yes, my doctor was shouting with me with excitement. So back to what I was saying. A woman sat down and she got on a phone call, and I was stunned I was stunned at two things. One, how she was speaking to the person on the other end of the phone. I immediately could discern from the conversation that this sounds like a client or a customer of hers, just in the way that she was speaking. She got off the phone and she called someone else. And she proceeded to bash that person to the person that she was talking to on the phone. Fast forward about 20 minutes later, our pocketbooks bumped into each other, and we both smiled, and she started telling me about her business. And I thought to myself, I know that she doesn't think, after sitting here talking about this person, talking to this person in a what I deem to be a disrespectful way, and then calling someone else and gossiping about that particular customer, you don't think I'm going to give you my business. And so those of you who know me know that I'm compassionately direct, because my intention is to help, never to hurt. And so as she quickly told me about her business and then attempted to pitch me, I then said to her, after the conversation, I appreciate you sharing with me, I do. But after the conversations that I heard, do you think that I'd want to do business? That I would feel comfortable to do business with you? Because that could have been me you were talking to that way or talking about. She was shocked. She was silent. Took her probably about a minute, and she apologized. And she said, you know what? I wasn't even thinking that anyone was hearing me. It was just automatic to get on my cell phone and say what I had to say. The problem with that is it was not as much about her apologizing for what she was saying. She was apologizing that I heard it, right? So it says to you something about her core values. Because it wasn't that, wow, I should not have been talking to that person that way, and then I should not have hung up and called someone else and gossiped about that person. But in fact, the apology was because I heard her. And we went on and we had a good talk about that. And I talked to her about how you show up, right? How we show up starts with our mindset, how we think about ourselves, even how we think about God, and how we think about other people. And so it starts in our mindset and in our heart attitude, and that shows up in what we say and in how we behave and how we treat people. And so I don't want this video to be long, but I do want to encourage you and challenge you. Pay attention to how you show up. What do you say? How do you say it? Even what's your body language saying? How do people know you? Sometimes people can perceive you falsely. Many times people will think things about us that are not true. But sometimes we only want to receive the wonderful things and wonderful ways that people think about us. But sometimes some of those critiques are necessary. It's good growth material for us to examine ourselves and say, God, show me myself. Am I acting that way? How am I coming across to people? I'll give you one last example, and then I'm going to close out this video. There was a woman that I was coaching, and I keep my clients confidential. And so I was coaching her on one area, but then her home life came up. She brought it up. And as I'm working with her in that particular area, she realized that she gives her best to her clients, but not to her family. They get her attitude, her crankiness, her fatigue, right? They get her bad day moments. But in front of the people, she's giving them their best, giving them her best. It was a great awareness for her. What do you think? Where do you think I was going with the subject with her? How you show up. How do you show up? And so we can be leaders, we can be business owners, we can be moms, grandmas, we can be students, teachers, volunteers, however God is using you, right? But we've got to give our best to God, to our family, and to the people that He allows us to serve. How do you show up? It's a question that I regularly ask myself. I not only want to examine myself, but as a believer, I want God to examine me. I want Him to show me where are the areas I need to get things together. Because it's not just about doing what you do and doing it well, but it's more about who you are and how you treat people. Integrity. That's how I want to show up. That's how I want to show up. How do you want to show up? That's your journaling assignment, or what I like to call a growth assignment. How do you show up? In the places that you have the privilege to be, how do you show up? And if you want a greater challenge, ask one or two of those people, how do I show up? How do you perceive me? How do I come across? The greatest growth comes from awareness and the willingness to surrender to whatever changes we need to make to be the best that we can be and to honor God in all that we do. So let me close with the encouragement for the week. On my Facebook page, I put earlier this morning, don't let anyone throw water on your fire. That's my encouragement to you for the week. Don't allow anyone to throw water on your fire. Sometimes we're excited about something, we're engaged in something, and someone comes along and says something negative and just blows it out the water. Don't let anyone throw water on your fire. Everyone is not going to understand your purpose. And that's okay. God didn't tell them your purpose. He told you your purpose. Not everyone's going to be on your side. Not everyone's going to get you. It's okay. And sometimes you're going to be a little bit afraid or question some things in your own mind or wonder, is this something I should be doing? Ask yourself those questions, pray about those questions, and then get moving. Don't let anyone throw water on your fire. You're an amazing woman with an amazing purpose, created by an amazing God to do amazing things. Don't let anyone throw water on your fire. What is it that you've sort of put on the back burner because somebody threw water on it? Go get it. Is it a book that you stopped writing? Is it a ministry that you didn't step out on? Is it a business that you were afraid to start or engage? Did somebody tell you you were too old to do something or not old enough? Who threw water on your fire? Did someone tell you that you're too big, you're too small, you're overqualified, you're underqualified? Who threw water on your fire? God equips who He calls, and He only calls who He's going to equip. We have to surrender to the equipping. So that is my encouragement for the week for you. Don't let anyone throw water on your fire. I may talk a little bit more about that in the next newsletter because I've had that done to me many times in my lifetime. And each time I had to go get a match and relight that fire. Because I want to do what God has called me to do. Yes? Be encouraged, ladies. I want to hear from you. Email me, lisa@lisashawcares.com. Visit with me. Visit my blog at lisashawcares.com. And by the way, if you love jewelry, you can check me out at lisasjewelsforgems.com. God bless you. Have an amazing week.